Welcome to episode 13 of Tuning In with Bob Lancer and
Greg Nielsen, Dr. G, whatever. And I'm 13 already. It's amazing. On the
13.
13th. Well,
We've been doing this
people won't
over
see
a
it on the
year.
13th, but we're
Yeah,
doing it on the 13th of November. Yeah.
in 2024. And wow, we've been doing this for over a year now, sharing Izzy's teachings and Isidore Friedman's teachings called Organics and the impact that it had on our life, and
hmm
trying to help other people to integrate it into their daily lives to experience the fruits of that
hmm
simple labor.
Yes, absolutamente.
So you have something you want to read.
Yes, I've been working on editing on, reading on, going over and over. We're republishing uh, Izzy's book, The Wisdom Book. And that's what
Hold
anybody
it up
can
a
see
little
it a
higher. Yeah,
little
there you
higher.
go.
Okay,
Yeah, there
right
you
there.
go. That's
And
Isidore's drawing.
that's Izzy did the drawing, and there's a whole page description about the serpent that his life partner Nancy Dahlberg wrote, which is an explanation. But so I spent a lot of time with the book, and there was one sentence in the book that really popped after repeated readings and editing over and over. So I thought I'd go ahead and read that and see where it leads.
Okay.
It's on page 130. By the way, the book will be out hopefully in December. It's at the printer now, so we'll see. All right. So here's the sentence. Pay conscious attention to whatever you are doing in the here now. Wow. Okay. A whole different spectrum of insights, experiences, awareness, images, and thoughts will enter and penetrate your field of consciousness. That really hit home for me
Mm-hmm.
because when I spend more time, as much as I can, in more like bare attention, perceptive awareness, mindfulness, whatever term you want to use, be in the now. This is what happens. The whole spectrum of insights starts to come to you. You start to see, you're the seer.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing things that are meant for you to see for learning, for experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
for sharing, whatever you want to call it. But you'll kind of know, you'll have natural experiences that are completely different than the everyday experience of just, which is fine. I mean, you walk around, you see where the door is and you open it, and you go out to the car and you drive wherever you're going to go. But here, when you're in this conscious attention, it shifts kind of frequency levels. And it's an actual experience that he describes here where you have new thoughts that come to mind that really you haven't really read, maybe. Or if you read it, you got a variation on the thought
Mm-hmm.
that you hadn't had before that helps you and anyone else that you meet, if it's appropriate, increase your awareness and your joy of living.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's just a short, so that's the sentence that stood out for me.
And so the first part of that sentence was to practice what?
Conscious attention. Energy follows attention. Attention without tension. Things that Izzy would talk about with us and share. Yeah.
Just being aware, just intentionally being aware
Yeah.
in the present moment changes your life experience.
Totally. And of course, we're saying that, you and I, and there's other people I'm sure watching, listening, who have that experience too. But for those who are transitioning and want to begin to use organics as a gateway to that experience of conscious attention in the now, we're just giving you a hand saying, it's wonderful. Come on in. The water's warm.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good. And
But
you
it's
will.
it's not something that happens automatically.
No,
It's
no.
a deliberate
hmm
intention. You have to do it intentionally. And
Yes.
I suggest everybody just try it right now.
Right now.
As you're
Exactly.
listening, just it's kind of like inhabiting the present moment more fully, more with
hmm
awareness. You're just paying attention, conscious attention to what's happening. And as Vitbin used to say, whatever you're aware of, you can control.
hmm
Whatever you're unaware of controls you.
Yeah.
So this practice of the actual practice, it's not something to believe in. It
Right.
doesn't matter that you can tell everybody that it's true. It's something to actually integrate into the present moment in your daily living experience. and it starts to give you greater control over the direction of your energy, the direction of your life.
hmm And of course, like you say, the practice, not the talking of it,
Mhm.
not like you say, the believing of it, not the thinking of it. Oh, I tried that once and it didn't work. Or
Mhm.
I can't hold my attention consciously. I can't. All of those are, you're not there. You're finding a way to kind of fall into whatever we fall in, all of us have fallen into at times, and you're not in the moment. So you
Mhm.
just put all that aside. And for some people, they really respond to it very quickly, I
Mhm.
find. Other people, it's a bit of a struggle. I mean, it's like almost like you might say it's like a muscle. Exercise is important, repetition, practice. Uh, for a lot of people to really be accomplished, it's quite a long practice, but who cares how long it is? It feels better.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And let's look at, some of the obstacles to doing that.
Yeah.
I guess the main one is attention habitually becoming absorbed in passing thoughts.
Yes.
Because to
Yeah.
be aware in the present moment, you can't be thinking because it's impossible to think about the present. The
Right.
moment you're thinking about it, it isn't.
Say
The
that again, Bob.
moment you're thinking about it, it isn't. And
That
that's why I always
almost,
found this so ironic to call Izzy Izzy,
yeah.
because he was
That
very
was,
much is.
it sounds like an ism. Ism.
Isidore.
That would
Yeah,
be something he might say. Yeah.
he was very is.
That's
He was
right.
very much in the present. And, he was the one many years ago, who helped me to understand that thinking and awareness are not the same.
No, vast bandwidths, if you want to use the word, a science term, frequency band, completely different experience of day-to-day living.
It's like the
Uh,
difference between dreaming in your sleep and waking up
yeah,
to where you actually are.
yeah. So
And
true,
that's
so
and
true.
that's when you can start making different choices.
Yeah, well, you bring up a very good point. I'm not sure how to put it real clearly in words, but the word choice is a big thing. I mean, you can look at a range or spectrum, he uses in the quote here, a spectrum of insights, a spectrum of choices. And there's where the wisdom book comes in, because there's wise choices and there's unwise choices in that moment.
Mhm.
And it's not a matter of right or wrong. You just feel it.
It's functional.
It's functional. It works.
It's just functional. Yeah, like
And, and
you can, if you're not aware, not paying enough attention in the present moment, you can slip into unwanted stress patterns and
I
not
love
even
what,
realize it.
oh, exactly. I mean, I talk like this. I write about it. I edit it. I'm putting the book out, other books, other things, other taught. And I still have, I mean, not, I don't even want to use the word still. You just do it. And as soon as you start thinking you're doing it, you're not doing
That's right, because you're thinking.
it. You're
Yeah, I mean,
thinking
I
about
still,
it.
after all these years of
Oh,
practice,
yeah.
rigorous practice, I still forget where I put my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm driving down the street about 2, 3 weeks ago, and I passed the place I'm supposed to go.
There you go.
And I go, look at that. I was in my head. I
That's right.
wasn't in the moment. At least
How many times have you arrived somewhere and realized, I don't remember the trip?
I
I don't even
have
know
no
how I
idea how
got
I
here.
got there. Yeah.
So Isidore
And
would
you get,
say that being unaware in the present moment is like driving your car blindfolded down a busy road,
yes,
right?
yes. Uh, I have an associative memory there on that. Somewhat of a similar thing. I remember being I think I wrote about it in one of my books, but I was in San Francisco, and it was getting to be around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when people start getting antsy and pantsy, and they want to get in their cars and commute. And I got behind a bunch of cars heading for the freeway thinking, oh, wow, this is going to take quite a long time. Of course, I'm thinking, I'm making a judgment. I'm telling myself something.
Mhm,
I'm whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
I wasn't in the moment.
mhm.
Fortunately, I caught myself and I said, why don't I just be in the moment? Why be impatient? I mean, if it takes 2 hours, maybe the most beautiful 2 hours of your life, who knows? As soon as I switched, my attention turned and I saw a street when no one was driving down it. And it led right straight to the freeway all by myself. And I was on it, as opposed to
Yeah.
thinking.
And you can use that as a metaphor
Hmm.
when you're practicing being present in the now, aware of the in the now, deliberately be aware in this moment of your experience. Notice
Hmm.
your experience consciously.
Yes.
It gives you a shortcut to where you want to go in life.
There you go. Yes. It's almost like metaphorically speaking, a path lights in front of you. And if you stay aware, your steps are in that path to some degree. And you don't worry about or concern yourself too much about, am I doing the right thing?
Well, while
Am I
you're
doing
thinking about not doing the right thing, you're not doing the right thing because you don't see where you are.
There you go.
It's that
Sums it right up.
distinguishing between, or the recognition that the more thought, the less awareness. The less awareness, the poorer your choices.
Yes. Yes.
It's really very practical, very simple. And yet, just the practice of being aware can make each moment more interesting,
Hmm. Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Some of the range of side effects, if you want to use that term, is profound. You're more energized, generally, in a healthy way, not
Mhm.
over energized or not drained. You enjoy whatever you're doing in that moment more.
Mhm.
Uh, the people that are in your life that you resonate with, it's more fulfilling.
Mhm.
Your creativity generally increases and creative ideas come that feel good that you may want to pursue. You have choices. You don't have to, but you can choose it appropriately for whatever the time that you have or energy, and so on. So the healthy side effects are just incredible.
Well, it's the foundation, I think, for a harmonious relationship.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Because if you're not noticing, while you're talking to someone, they can have like glazed eyes and be looking away,
Mm-hmm.
and they're giving you a signal like the information you're sharing with me is really not relevant to me, and I have
Right.
someplace I have to go, and here I am trapped with you because you feel like telling a story that no one's interested in.
Yeah. Well, that's the anatomy of some relationships, if
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
call it that. Yeah.
And
Unconscious.
in parent-child relationship, it's profound.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So many times when I'd be, talking to my kid and maybe I'd be a little bit annoyed at
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
something. And as I'm talking, I'm looking in his eyes
Yeah. Yeah.
and see he doesn't want to displease me.
No, of
He
course
doesn't
not.
want me to be
Yeah.
upset with him. I could
No.
see the loving heart in his
Yeah.
eyes, and I'm able to tune it down,
Mm-hmm.
connect with him in love,
Yeah.
and he's happier, he's healthier, he's more successful in school because he's got a good relationship with his dad. I feel better. We're
Yeah.
a relationship of love, all because I was paying attention to the other person
Mm.
while I was speaking, but I was also paying attention to me, the sound of my voice, how I
Mm-hmm.
was coming across.
Yeah.
We're not deliberately present, aware in the now. Habits take over,
Oh yeah.
habits that were formed in the past. And
Yeah.
Isabel talks a lot about the fact that we don't live in a universe of change, things that are changing. We live in a universe of change that is thinging. We're in constant transition. And so
Mm-hmm.
if I'm possessed by a habit pattern from the past, I'm not connecting to what's actually happening here and now.
Well, again, good summary right there. I mean, hopefully people will listen to that and take it in and do it.
Well, it does take practice,
Oh yeah.
there are certain aspects, ways of living that support it. For
Yes.
example, if you let yourself get too run down,
Oh.
you're not going to have the energy to be
Mm-hmm.
aware. It's like the more tired you are, the more asleep you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be well rested
Yeah.
to be alert and awake in the now so you don't step on dog poop that's right in front of you.
That really smells.
It stinks.
It really stinks. I don't
And I
know.
could see
But
Isidore making, he would like to get gross sometimes.
oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so it's almost like there's a battle between the present and the past. And the
Hmm.
past always wants to come up and consume your energy.
Yeah.
The habits grow stronger, but as things change, your habits are less and less aligned with the
Hmm.
facts of now. So
Yeah.
there's more and more clashing and crashing and frustration. And people, well, why is my life so difficult? Well, you got to just pay more attention, and you'll find
Yes.
a simple, easy, fun way to handle whatever's in front of you.
Yeah. And that's something I mentioned at a couple of podcasts going back. I spent more time over the last year paying more attention to my frustrations. Little ones, medium ones, big ones, and learn, like you just said, learning to let go and stop and slow down. Automatic thinking that says, yeah, but I'm justified to feel frustration because it doesn't work properly. There's a technology glitch here.
Mhm.
So let it go. And it's amazing. It's amazing how often it works itself out by letting it go.
Well, and again, getting back to, one of Isidore's favorite words, function,
Yes.
you'll notice that if you just pay attention when you're frustrated,
Hmm.
notice what happens when you're frustrated, it just gets more and more difficult, more and more complicated, more and more frustrating,
Hmm. Yeah, your
right?
energy follows attention. So you're feeding the frustration in a sense. Well, you
Mhm.
are, not even a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And it gets stronger and you get
And that's
that.
lowering your vibration,
Yeah.
and that means more chaos,
Hmm.
more complication, more
And that's what,
difficulty. If
and
you're
then you,
paying attention, you can see that.
yeah.
And it's like driving down the road and you say, well, like you said, I see a lot of traffic, but I can turn off over here. If
Hmm.
you recognize that something like you don't, number one, you don't want to be frustrated. It's an
No,
unpleasant experience.
no.
Two, working through frustration will tend to create more problems, more
Hmm.
difficulties.
Yeah.
When you're observing that happen in life, being aware is no longer theoretical. It's like an obvious fact that
Hmm.
frustration doesn't work. So
Yeah.
now I look at, okay, now if I'm really aware, I say, well, what's frustrating me?
Hmm.
Not aware, and I misuse language, I'll say, I'm frustrated because I can't make this connection happen on the internet.
Yeah.
Paying more attention, I say, I'm reacting with frustration to this thing, and I don't want to be frustrated. I know frustration doesn't work. So now that I notice I'm doing this to me,
Hmm.
now I can just let it go
Yes.
because I know
And
that when I'm calm and centered and do things, it flows. When I'm frustrated, it's just opposition.
I'll give another example from yesterday. I'm sitting doing some things in preparing and have my printer over here and print a couple of pages that I was going to use. And the printer didn't work. So I was starting to feel the swelling up of the frustration, but, and happily, I was letting it go. And I was almost smiling inside to say, here's an opportunity. Because quite often it's the doorway to better energy, to better awareness, doorway to the now. And I'm making a little bit of a long story short, but it popped in my mind, give Canon Printer a call.
Hmm.
Uh, I've had a couple of side thoughts like, well, maybe they're busy. Oh, will it cost $100 an hour? No, just let that go. You're not in the moment. I call, I get right through. A gentleman gets on the phone. Within a matter of 3 to 4 minutes, he tells me step one. He sends me an email with the steps, visual. Step one, step two, step three, step four, solved.
Well, that's Isidore used to, I don't know if you remember this or
Hmm.
not. He used to say, in all situations, laugh,
Yeah.
LAF, look at
LA.
facts.
Look at facts. Yeah.
Look
Laugh.
at facts. And so when you're aware in the now, you realize I'm just making an assumption. I don't
Hmm.
know that it's going to cost me $100 an hour. I don't
Yeah.
know that they're too busy. Let me experiment. Let
Yes.
me see what
Hmm.
happens.
I had choice. I made a choice. I felt that intuitive choice is, oh, I have the number in my phone. It's an 800 number. Boom, boom, boom. They're on. And I thought, well, again, I thought, if it doesn't answer or there's no one available, let it go. Is it an emergency to print that page? Not really. In fact, you could always print it someplace else.
You know, it's like asking yourself the question, how do I want to feel?
Hmm.
How do I want to feel today?
Yeah.
Because if I know that I really enjoy feeling calm, relaxed, untroubled, undisturbed, if I'm paying attention, I can notice when I'm slipping out of that state.
Hmm. Hmm.
If I'm not paying attention, I can slip out of that state for 4 days, for 4 years. I'm not even
Yeah.
realize how miserable I am and how miserable I'm making everybody around me.
Yeah. And you've said this before in the past about just like before you go to sleep, uh, there's many ways to handle that, but reviewing the day or being in the moment, but not being in a state of ugly energy. Let's put it that
Mhm,
way before you go to sleep. And I know I spend time in the morning paying attention. Why is hey, I don't have to wander over in that thought over here, over this, over
mhm,
that, or if it's a worry or it's a random nothing, or just let
mhm,
it go.
mhm,
Because of what you said, I want to feel good. And I notice if I make that effort, it starts the day off on a nice course.
mhm,
You
mhm.
start to have intuitive insight, perceptive awareness. You feel what's maybe wise to do or not do. This needs to be done. This doesn't. I mean, it's amazing. It's a
Oh,
wonderful
you
thing.
know, that reminds me of a practice. You know, Isidore used to talk about the need to digest our experiences.
Hmm.
And so one of the ways you digest your experiences at the end of the day, you look back, choose two or three things
Yeah.
at random, or it could be something that was disturbing for you. And you just ask yourself, okay, let me review. How did I handle that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, let me see. Now, if something like that happens again, and it will because of cycles, everything comes
Hmm.
around again.
As he
How
used to call it, a
do
pulse recurrent frequency. Pulse recurrent frequency. Anyway,
I-
sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so by then, okay, so how do I want to handle it like the next time my kid is nagging me, right?
Hmm.
To
Hmm.
do something after I say no. How do I want to feel when that's happening? How would I like to handle it kindly, compassionately, firmly? I'm not going to give in. It doesn't feel right
Hmm.
to give in, but I don't have to give in to my stress, my frustration. I don't have to blame him for how I'm reacting.
Right.
Now what happens, because I've reviewed the experience, the next time I'm in something similar, I will
Hmm.
tend to be more aware. I'll
Yeah.
notice I'm slipping into that pattern that I've decided I don't want to slip into.
I will second that in my experience as well. The next time it happens, it's a different moment, but it's similar. You can handle that energy completely differently, like you said. You have a greater choice. It sort of opens a little bit of a gap. Wittmann called it the thalamocortical gap. It's just that sense of pause when you bring higher awareness or conscious abstracting to the moment. And
Mhm.
it's a wonderful, liberating opportunity to make other choices. But
I think
if
it's
you don't,
Isidore called it registering without reaction,
yeah, exactly.
building a
Register.
delay circuit,
Hmm.
so you're aware.
Yeah.
So we increase our awareness. As we increase our awareness, we increase our joy, we increase our success in relationships and in every aspect of life, including our
Hmm.
happiness.
Yeah.
So one of the ways we increase our awareness is to deliberately practice it right now. Try again,
Hmm.
everybody. And you'll notice that if you are trying again right now to practice being aware, you weren't practicing it a moment ago.
Hmm.
You're more conscious right now by making that effort. You're taking yourself into greater awareness.
Yeah.
And then we talked about reflecting on the past.
Hmm.
I'm more aware. How did I handle it? How do I want to handle it in the future? And without getting caught up in self-criticism and self-judgment,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And if you're not aware, you're going to start judging yourself. Say, wait, that's not what this is about. I want to improve how I function here.
Hmm.
You said it's important to be well rested
Yes.
because the more fatigue, the lower the awareness.
Hmm.
We mentioned that to be aware in the now, um, don't confuse awareness of the now with thinking. The more you think, the less you're present.
Hmm.
And then I think one additional support to being aware is eliminating rush.
Oh yeah. Oh
Because the
yeah.
more
Not,
quickly you're moving, the more invisible everything becomes.
well, I was getting caught up in the rush at that San Francisco traffic. It was part of what was happening. I was resonating until we got to hurry up. It's a rush hour. Come on. How come it stopped? I can't move.
Mhm.
So letting that go, that rush vibe
Yeah.
frequency changed
And
my, yeah.
when I'm working with students, I'll have them do like, okay, hold up your index finger,
Hmm.
really examine it.
Yeah.
Look at the lines, look at the colors, look at the shape as you hold it still. Now, move it as fast as you can.
Mm.
How much do you see? Nothing.
Less.
It becomes almost invisible.
Hmm.
So that's why when people are in relationships and they're rushing around through the day, they're not seeing, they're not hearing, they're not sensing how they're impacting the people around them, how they're
Yeah.
impacting themselves, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
And so slowing down to pay attention, to be more aware. People say,
Hmm.
well, I don't have time to pay attention.
I shouldn't laugh because I've said that in my
Yeah,
past. I've said that
yeah.
many times. Yeah.
Which is like saying I don't have time to make a good choice,
Yeah.
right? I
I
don't
don't
have
want to be
time
happy or
to,
joyful.
yeah, I don't have time to avoid that accident, you know? I don't have time to miss I don't have time to make that turn. I've got to miss that turn,
Hmm.
right? And
Oh
so
yeah.
almost every accident that we have, dropping a book or bumping your head or, can't find your keys, it
Mhm.
all comes down to a lack of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
And that's how you lose your time, you lose your way, right? So we
Right.
have to slow down in order to make good choices. If you want to make bad choices, this is what they used to say, make haste slowly.
Yes.
Remember
Yes.
that?
I do remember. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
how would you explain that? What does that mean to make haste slowly? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, there's many ways of verbalizing it, but number one, notice that you're rushing or you're overly eager or your anxiety around whatever you're going to do next that's preventing you from being mostly in the present. If you do that, you're going to move in the direction you need to go at the pace you need to go.
Right.
And you
Right.
can stop and you can wait and you can go forward and you can stop and you can not do it tomorrow. I mean, whatever. The
Well,
choices open up. They do open up at that
yeah.
point. Yeah.
And also, whatever you do hastily, you're
Oh,
probably going to miss certain things. You're going to have to go back and fix what you overlooked. How many times have you maybe, I've seen people, I don't
mhm.
fall into this pattern myself, but I've seen people where they're leaving the house and
Yeah.
they're with the car and, oh, I forgot my thing. And they're
Hmm.
rushing. They run
Yeah.
back to get the thing and they go back. Oh, but I didn't put the thing in. And they're going back and forth.
Hmm.
Whereas if they just would have slowed down, they probably would have gotten out of the house a lot sooner,
Yeah.
wasted a lot less energy on stress.
Hmm.
And one of the things I want us to talk about in the
Oh, yeah.
context of awareness from an energy perspective,
Yeah.
what is like stress, frustration, overwhelm, anger, unhappiness, electronically, energetically, what do those states do to ourselves, do to our lives, do to our relationships?
Mm. They pretty much take us down the flush
The
toilet,
vortex.
the negative vortex of
Negative vortex.
unconsciousness
That's right.
and there's pain involved. There's blame, there's criticism, both of others and yourself. There's
Yeah.
anger, there's fear, this whole range of emotional energies that are make your present moment very well. Whatever, maybe you're not in the present, but your moment is very uncomfortable. Let's put
It's
it that
really
way.
suffering, yeah.
Painful and suffering.
And it generates chaos,
Hmm.
conflicts, and mishaps and breakdowns. And yet, because if a person's not paying close attention in the now, they'll operate with the belief, I have to be stressed out to be responsible. I have to run myself ragged. I have to be exhausted. I have to push through fatigue. I walked through past a sign in a garden a while back. You know, how people post these like political signs in their garden, making statements. And this
Yeah.
statement said, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And I wanted to say, if you're outraged, you're not paying attention because it
Stop
doesn't
being
work.
outraged.
Yeah. And whatever you fight against from outrage, you're just empowering, you're just strengthening the opposition.
Yeah. And Izzy would talk about
Aware.
that, but yeah,
Yeah,
whatever you fight against, you make stronger.
that's right.
Yeah. Hmm.
So if you're aware,
Hmm.
you notice how it's working, how it's functioning. And
Hmm.
you pay attention and make the conscious choice. Like right now, everybody watching, get conscious right now. Come into the now. Pay attention here and now. Feel your feelings.
Hmm.
Notice where you are. Be present. Um, then you can start to choose to live in a centered, harmonious peace and poise. And you'll find that the more consistently you live in that from awareness, you'll discover, you'll see
Hmm.
it works.
Yeah.
It not only feels good, but it functions well.
Hmm.
Your money problems start to resolve. Your relationship problems resolve. Your
Hmm.
opportunities open up.
Hmm.
You're feeling good, and your impact on others is to help them to feel centered and balanced and harmony so that they can make good choices in the present moment.
Hmm. Now you bring up a very wise and valid statement point. When you make that effort, it does change the environment around you. It emanates. And you sent me a video, and it showed how people's auric energy field was
Mhm,
very much aligned, almost like iron filings going to a magnet. It
mhm.
lines up in a sense of order, and that emanates from you. So you start attracting circumstances and people and events. It just sort of works out.
It just
Uh,
works out. It's like
just
grace or synchronicity, you know.
yeah.
And the first place that that state emanates into is into your physical body.
Hmm.
So when we're upset and uptight, it's what Korzybski would call anti-survival.
Hmm.
And yet people are, it's like they're killing themselves to survive.
Yeah.
And they're only doing it because they're not paying attention. They're
Hmm.
following a program.
Hmm.
And the more
Yeah.
stress that we live in, the more strife that we manifest.
Hmm. And of course, carrying that further, if we have, a large population, hundreds of thousands or millions of people with that life path or life experience, it amplifies the whole environment that you're in. So your navigation as a conscious person, your navigation and your awareness in the moment gets to the point of critical. Awareness is your only protection.
Yep.
Yeah.
In today's world,
Yeah.
it would seem that way. And what, another influencer when it comes to awareness is rapport.
Oh, yeah.
Because, unconsciousness is contagious.
Hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
around a lot of people and they're in a very unconscious space, they're not practicing self-observation. They're just engaged in automatic reactions, like maybe at
Mm.
a big football game or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're just caught up in that. You walk away and you're going to be at that same vibratory level. You're going to be reactive, following old programs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
not even knowing why am I keep clashing with my life.
Hmm. I brought up last time that I was visiting my son, and I made the unconscious choice to get caught up in the game, this football game, and talk about resonance and rapport. Oh yeah, I was. Oh yeah, and I caught self-observation. Said, you know what? This game is not that important for your happiness. Let's let it go. And of course, since then, like you say, the reflecting on it, I've cut. I really just don't do it at all. And if my son likes to talk about a game or something, I can watch a 5-minute capsule of the game on YouTube. That's fine. I choose the time. I have a good energy, and it's a compromise because he
Mhm,
enjoys it, and I love to connect and have
mhm.
a conversation about here and there. And so, yeah, but it's an example of saying, oh my goodness, let it go. Come on, you can
Mhm.
change that. And it was not that difficult to change once I became more in the moment.
And the rapport works in a positive way too.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to feel when I was with Isidore,
Yeah.
in his apartment, studying organics, which is what this podcast is all about, is teaching
Yeah.
organics, how everything functions organically.
Hmm.
I would be more aware when I was with him.
Oh yeah. And,
I could
and then
feel my awareness heightened. I could see every movement I was making, every
yeah.
thought that was occurring to my mind. I could notice, like, what am I putting attention on?
Yeah, that was a very enjoyable atmosphere. We'll put it that way.
Mhm. To
And of
be
course,
around a
people,
conscious person.
yeah, to be there, have conversation, have a lesson plan, a learning process, whatever it was in the moment. And speaking of that, as far as Izzy goes, I mean, one of the most joyful and wonderful things about his character was he wasn't an authoritarian. I mean, he didn't have the answer attitude at all. I mean, it was which was a wonderful thing
Mhm.
because sometimes when people get very eh, learned about something, they can get a little more authoritative. He
Mhm.
was not. He was
He
very
was more
calm.
scientific,
Yeah, exactly.
more scientific.
More
Just like
scientific.
he would say one time, he said, if you want to know if you should do something, right? Notice how you feel before you do it.
Uh-huh.
Notice how you feel while you do it. Notice how you feel after you do it. And then you'll
Hmm.
know at some point whether to stop doing it or not do it again. Just pay attention.
Yeah.
Just notice. And so spending time around people who are not practicing self-observation, who are just living on automatic pilot,
Mm.
that can lower your awareness,
Yeah.
leads to lower vibrations, lower manifestations. So we have to be discriminating, like we talked, I don't remember if it was last time or the time
Yeah,
before.
we've talked about it before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
recognizing the basic point of consciousness, the basic level of consciousness of the person you're interacting with. So you know how much time to spend with them. Don't spend time with them, when you're tired.
Hmm.
Be
Yeah.
careful about answering the phone after dark, because that's when all the vampires come out.
Yeah, let me look at the castle out here. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So all these things, and then another aspect to bring into awareness, once you recognize that you're tired of all the emotional suffering,
Hmm.
you just don't, the harder you are on yourself, the harder
Mm.
life feels.
Oh yeah.
And you can start to recognize it, and you can go against the programming that says you have to be miserable and frustrated and overwhelmed and fatigued to be responsible
Hmm.
because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, you have to
No
work
matter.
hard.
Well, yeah, and
The
you have
negative work
to,
ethic system, yeah.
yeah, yeah, negative work, and you have to, I think, you have to, like Vidfan talks about the ripening process. You've got to get to
Mm.
the point where you're just fed up with it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to live in stress anymore. And that doesn't mean you have to quit your job and move to
Oh
Tahiti.
no.
It just means you
Oh,
have to practice being more aware.
darn.
Yeah, because if you go to Tahiti and you're stressed out, you're going to run into the one person there that doesn't
Yeah.
get along with anybody.
And you'll get hit with a coconut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Possibly.
yeah, yeah. And so awareness can tell you when to lighten up, when to be serious,
Yeah.
how to behave in a particular context, so you're in harmony with it and being constructive instead of being, dragging people down
Yeah.
with the way you're, and I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, and they just came back from Romania,
Oh, wow.
and they
Okay.
were and they the week of Halloween, right after Halloween, they went to Transylvania, and they
Wow.
visited Dracula's castle,
Okay.
which is an actual castle. And in the basement of the castle, they have all these torture stuff, torture equipments.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were very somber. My friends were very somber. They're looking at this, very disturbing,
Yeah.
and watching these people like giggling and taking selfies in such a macabre context.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
was so out of sync with where they were, and it was so disturbing to the people around them.
Hmm.
And they
Hmm.
didn't know that they're having this kind of impact on people. And people, well, I'm just being myself, and this is how I want to be, which
Hmm.
excludes the oneness,
Yeah, yeah.
interconnection between us all, being aware of the law of three self, of a relationship between in the now, in this present moment.
And of course, the way you describe it too, that you described it as somebody who's more energy conscious. I mean, you pick up the energy, you don't want to push it away or grab and pull it back, but you need to recognize it and make a decision on how long do you want to be around that.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, not maybe not at all. And
that's right.
you can even feel it coming before it happens in some cases, and just
Well,
let
the
it go.
more aware you are, the more of a seer you become.
Yeah, you're not going to go
And
in that direction energetically. It's just not going to contribute to any kind of awareness in the moment.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So awareness also guides you as to what to pay attention to, watch on TV, what kind of music
Hmm.
to listen to,
Yeah.
what kind of book to read, what kind of podcast to listen to. So you ask yourself, like, how is it affecting me energetically?
Hmm.
Is this what I really need right now, or is this some kind of mindless escape?
Yeah, yeah, you're really, it's really true. You more and more let go of things. Oh, I think I'll watch that. Like I gave the example. Oh, I'll watch that football game. No, I don't want to be in that. It's not my kind of energy.
Hmm.
Just because I care about someone else who does it doesn't mean I have to do it, and so on. And if I pick up a book, and you've talked about this before, energetically, there's really nothing there for me. It's just really kind of a dark path, just a waste of my time or energy. It's not going to lead to anything uh, healthy or wise. So why spend all that time forcing yourself to read something you're supposed to read?
Well, that brings up another challenge to
Yeah,
live a conscious life. And the
yeah,
challenge of living a conscious life is you can find yourself kind of ostracized and alienated
mm,
at times
yeah, uh-huh.
because everybody's like saying, no, the gang's all doing this, let's all do this. And you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like I need to meditate. I know it
hmm.
sounds weird, but I feel like, and they say, no, come on. I say, okay, well, I guess if I get drunk enough, I can just go with them. And then you go through all that whole process. But
Yeah,
the challenge, is that you might find yourself alone.
yeah. There quite often you'll see that stage of new
Stage.
people. New people need to go out of your life. I mean, old people need to go out of your life, and new people need to come in. And you could be in that, I don't know, like you described,
Mhm,
uh, ostracized or feeling a bit lonely or not
mhm,
as connected temporarily.
mhm,
But it is a stage. It's not they're comfortable.
mhm,
But there you start to go, there's other people that have a enjoy being in the moment.
mhm,
And you'll start to meet those people
mhm.
bit by bit.
But
Maybe
it takes
sometimes all,
courage.
yeah, maybe all at once, even sometimes.
Yeah, but it takes courage, it's what Wittmann called the individualization process.
Hmm.
He
Yeah,
referred to the Christ statement where Christ says, come out from among them and be therefore separate. And most people are programmed like, I don't want to be separate.
yeah,
I don't want to
exactly.
stand out. I want to be part of the group. I want the
Yeah,
group to like me. I want to fit in with the group. That's how cults get started.
yeah.
And one of the beautiful things about awareness is it really empowers you to be alone.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because you notice, what am I
Mhm.
getting into mentally here? And, how am I reacting? And let me see if I can center myself and be at peace with the way things are and not be thinking of myself being rejected and trying to tune in, like, what is it that I feel I need from me or for me right now?
Yeah.
And I can follow that path in my aloneness. And if
Hmm.
I can follow that path when I'm alone, then when I'm in a relationship, I won't lose myself. I'm
Yeah.
so caught up in what the other person wants or
Mm.
expects that I lose my path of true power.
Yeah.
So dealing with aloneness consciously
Hmm.
prepares us to be in relationship consciously.
There you go. I'll second that.
I'll second that on emotion.
Yeah, it's not emotion, it's unemotion.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is
Yeah,
Isidore wrote these poetic things. I don't know if you've ever seen um, the little booklet, the little poetry booklet he made called The Cosmic Call.
no, no, I
And
never
he
saw that.
wrote this in 1978.
Okay,
It's a
I
different kind of poetry. It's not like the Star Lords.
okay. I
So I'm
did
gonna
not.
read
I'm
this
not
and
familiar with it. So that sounds wonderful.
I think
Is
you're
it,
really
did he
gonna
put
like
it
it.
in book form? Did he
Yeah,
publish it in a book
it's
form?
in this.
Oh yeah, I have that book. Okay.
Okay,
Songs of the
so
Star Lords.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's toward the back of the book is
Yeah.
one of his
Hmm.
later works.
Yeah, I have it right here too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just started picking it up and just,
Oh yeah.
particularly, we just passed through the period of the election when there was a lot of anxiety and
Hmm.
heightened emotion. And I
Yeah.
just found myself drawn, to re-study Isidore's work
Oh yes.
to help me stay grounded and
Hmm.
clear and centered.
Let go of all that chaotic up and
Right?
down emotion thought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is called Cosmic Path 1.
Okay.
Energy is God, the gas of your being that powers your thinking, feeling, seeing. Unconscious word and thought and deed, chaos, hell, in you will always seed. Energy links to the highest star, bringing to here now light from afar. Its structure, spectrum, octave feed, your deepest being, your every need. Aware of every image and thought, never in race mind's prison caught, mindful of symbol, touch, and sight, to cleanse perception and see the light.
Mm. Yeah.
Clarifying, right?
That's a very aligning experience.
Yeah,
Energetically, you can feel it.
that's
And
the
it's
value of
almost
the
like
book.
it's like a circuitry to the moment and then a connection to something deeper just by
Yeah,
listening.
yeah. And to me, one of the things he's talking about there is that by being aware in the
Hmm.
present moment, which you started out with, reading that one sentence
Yes.
synthesis of organics,
Conscious
being
attention.
aware in the present moment separates you from the herd mind
Hmm.
and opens you to the higher mind.
Hmm.
And it's not just to have a higher mind experience like woo woo la la,
No, it's not a
higher
mystical
mind to
thing. No.
guide you intelligently in the now.
Back to the functional, very practical, very grounding,
Mhm.
very beneficial. Yeah, we can give a lot of words to it, but like you said, do it now. Do it
Right
right
now,
now.
pay attention.
Hmm.
Just try it right now. Just
Yeah.
try paying attention. And if you notice any kind of stress within you, just relax, let it go. It's
Hmm.
not the way to live. It doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? And that's not theory. You do it by observation. You'll see that the more worked up you get, it's like the worst things seem to get.
Yeah. It becomes like a little bit of a tsunami, I guess you could say. It
Mhm,
just, your mind is not having a thought doesn't stop it. Let's put it that way. The,
mhm,
the weight of a thought is 1 pound. The weight of a tsunami could be hundreds of thousands of pounds.
mhm,
So it has to be functional
mhm. Yeah,
and you have to have that energy in the moment to let it go,
yeah. And
to
and and
counteract.
and I think, it's the ability to recognize when you're slipping into a past pattern and out of present moment experience,
Hmm.
so that the automatic thinking is not running all day long. If you notice that you're thinking, that means you're not aware. And you have
Yeah.
to pause and ask yourself, is this the time to think? Is this what I want to think about? Because my mind is the steering wheel of my life.
Hmm.
But do I want to really be thinking about my annoying brother-in-law right now? Is that
Yeah.
where I want my life to go? Now, if I'm not conscious, that's where it goes.
Yeah. You
They
can,
find themselves stuck in harmonious relationships.
yeah. That's one reason I spend extra special attention for me in the morning. Because sometimes I'll catch myself, what in the world am I thinking about that for? It has nothing to do with anything. Whereas maybe when I was more unconscious, I would start following the path of whatever that was. Now I'm planting a seed, can throw me in a whole different direction for the day. All the things you talked about, we talked about, uh, conscious attention. So for me, it's really important in the morning, partly because of my psychological structure. If I get too fixated, it takes a while to get out of it.
Hmm.
It's like it becomes a little bit of a concrete feeling inside, like just stop that. And I have to be patient with the stopping process.
Well,
It may take a,
for me, it's the method.
Yeah.
If I get stuck in any kind of aggravation or upset,
Hmm.
um, I'll just go through the method, and
Yeah.
usually one time through, I'm
Yeah.
at peace. You know, we talked, probably every show, we probably mentioned rhythmic alternation.
Oh yeah. You
And
cannot say it. You, you, you can't say it enough because
yeah,
it's such a big key. Heaven's first law.
that's right. So rhythmic alternation is heaven's first law. So it's the first law to follow,
Hmm.
live a heavenly life.
Yeah.
Um, Only when you're in awareness can you tell when it's time to alternate.
And I like today, even for me, I had a day where I could slow down. I planned it out that way. And the morning was wonderful in terms of being more in the moment and doing some creative things and meditation and so on. But then I felt like, okay, that's enough. And I had a few little mini errands to run, and it became wonderful. I'll give like a practical example. I went to Ace Hardware to get something. I'm working on a little art project, but I needed to use a tool to move something on this, whatever this thing was. And I didn't have it. He said, no, there's no tool for that. Because it was a crutch I found on the ground outside, which I'm turning into an art project because life can have a crutch sometimes. But he said, you know what? My buddy owns a company called MedTech, and they have all these machines and things like crutches and wheelchairs and walkers. It's right down the street. So I drove over there. I walk in, I tell the guy who runs it, yeah, I'll take care of it, no problem. Went back, fixed it, gave it to me, done. But the whole thing's going back to rhythmic alternation. It was in the flow,
That's right.
and I wasn't in any hurry to get it done. It just sort of led it one thing to the next.
So what are the signs for you when you're aware in the now? What
Yeah.
are the signs for you that tell you it's time to alternate?
Okay. I'll go back to today. Uh, I One thing I noticed was my focal point was starting to diminish in what I was doing a little bit. Uh, and I said, "Oh, wait a minute now. I'm kind of doing too much too long, too much of a good thing too long." It's a feeling you get like, and then so I could say that. When I used to not pay attention to it, you can get frustrated. You can get feelings of boredom. You can get feelings of loneliness. You don't know what to do. You tell yourself you don't know what to do next, or you can make things up in your mind like, what am I going to do? I don't know what I can do. I don't know who I'm going to call. I don't know. And you can start talking to your inner talk that's going to throw you out of your natural rhythm.
Mhm,
So those are some indicators for me.
mhm,
But today it was a feeling that enough is enough of a good thing. That was whatever that cycle was that I was on. And
mhm,
then it popped in my mind because I'm used to doing this.
mhm,
You know what? You have a couple short errands. It's only 2 blocks to the Ace Hardware. And then you're going to stop at the dollar store to pick a couple things up. That's 2 blocks from there. And then the guy tells me something out of the blue. He took my case and said, call my friend over at MedTech, or don't call, just drive over there. And then boom, boom, boom. These three little
uh-huh,
errands were a wonderful experience. And that was an alternation. I got a chance to feel the outdoor
mhm,
qualities of the day, feel the sunshine, feel the wind, uh, pay attention driving. So continuing with bare attention or being in the moment or conscious attention as much as possible. And I was almost like guided in a rhythm that was more outer directed as opposed to more inner directed.
And
Does
if
that,
and
yeah,
if
yeah. And it felt great.
it's the feeling,
Yeah.
if I'm starting to feel drained or strained,
Hmm.
or frustrated,
Hmm.
it's time to let go and to alternate. Alternate meaning just do something completely different or just rest for a little bit. And even that has a time period. And then all of a sudden, let's say you're resting, you say, you know
Hmm.
what, I'm ready to get up,
Yeah.
ready to
Well,
get back to work.
going back to
You get
today,
back to work
I
refreshed.
get back from my errand. I have a small lunch. Felt good. I said, "Oh, I'm a little tired. I think I'll take a nap." I took a nap, so I'm alternating more inwardly. Got up, like you say, from the nap. Okay, I think it
Mhm,
feels good to do
mhm.
more rhythmically doing stuff as opposed
And
to
what
not.
you're describing,
Yeah.
to me, what you're describing is freedom.
Oh, yeah.
And, Isidore used to say, you might be a Democrat, you might be a Republican. He says, me, I'm a cosmocrat.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
work in the cosmocracy with the cosmic laws.
Hmm.
When you work with the cosmic laws like rhythmic alternation and paying attention in the present moment,
Hmm.
you find yourself more and more free to live the way you want to live.
Yes.
And it just works out that way because you're
Yeah.
high.
You just sort of attract circumstances that just, excuse me, that are very beneficial.
Yeah. So
And then,
you live your life in right fit,
hmm,
right? Whatever you do, it's fitting for now.
yeah.
And so ultimately it comes down to trust.
Hmm.
Trust living in the light or living in the dark. Do you trust living in joy and peace and freedom in the present moment? Or do you trust feeling like a slave and burdened and dragged down and blaming the outer world for the choices that you're making? What do you trust?
Hmm.
You trust peace and you trust harmony and you trust awareness, you will find that your life just surrounds you with harmonious circumstances and harmonious people that support you going up, up, up into higher
Hmm.
levels of life. All
Well
right.
put.
So,
Well
okay.
put.
So here we are at the end of episode 13. Greg,
What?
what would you
Well,
like to
that's amazing. That's
time
amazing.
travels fast when you're paying attention.
That's amazing. It's a wonderful experience. I just wanted to, I keep forgetting to mention, if ever anybody would like me to come do an organic presentation, just let me know.
Mhm.
We can work it out. I've been
Or even us.
compelled.
It might even bring
Yeah,
us in
I've
to
been
do
compelled to
something
say that,
like
and I've
that.
kept forgetting every time. So this time I want to say it.
Yeah.
And it just
We- we-
naturally happens to us. And whatever,
yeah, yeah,
if it evolves or comes
absolutely. We
together,
can
or
do it on
somebody,
Zoom. We can do it on
lots,
Zoom. We can travel. If
exactly.
someone would like to experience this live or
Yep,
just have you come in and do your thing, absolutely. It's all of our contact information is in the description.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So Greg, once again, I would just assume that your last line would be, give it a try.
Do it now. Do it now as we're talking and ending, and do it right after this ends.
All right. Choose peace,
Yeah.
choose harmony. Don't get distressed about anything, and you'll
Hmm.
just see everything beautifully working out for you. Greg, thank you so much.
Adios, amigo.
It's so nice for us to connect like this and this delicious energy together. Wow.
Yeah, well, I'm
People
looking
are telling
forward
me
to,
that they envy us because we have this brotherhood, this friendship in the light. It's pretty
yes,
special.
it is. It's amazing. It's a
All right.
joyful. Enjoy.
Talk to you next month.
Next month. You got it.
Yes.